I'm
You need
so
to
Gel
taste it.
Bell. Thank you.
I've been asking.
Because part of the fun.
Sorry, you and that cone.
Are we
is-
ready? We're literally starting like right now.
This is not a drill, this is how I feel. Pop champagne, I'ma do it for the thrill. Escape with me, I'm saying maybe we could take off and then land on a jet ski. Baby, I hold you tight, top shelf with.
So this is So Tell Me This podcast. I'm Shari.
And I'm Rachel. When Shari and I talked about doing a podcast, and we'll talk about how that came about, I was thinking, what is a title that is natural? Because we're all about the vibe, natural.
Yeah, like it has to just come
authentic.
off. Yeah.
And all day long, we talk often. And and one of the phrases we say all the time is,
So tell me this. Yeah, for
and
every
we would say it
single
in different
thing.
ways. So tell me this.
Yes.
And so when I told Shari, she was like, that works.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
I was shocked because she don't always agree with everything I say.
Contrary to popular belief. Yeah, that's one thing. Everybody thinks that every single thing we're agreeing on, and I'm just listening to everything she says, and that I don't have my own brain.
Yeah, here's the thing. She's her own person, but we are a lot alike.
We're really similar.
Yeah. Which is why a lot of times y'all might see, like, we do finish each other's sentences.
Yes.
She will have some of the same mannerisms. However, I do want to make one correction. Sometimes people say, oh, your mom is just like you. Correction. Shari's like me because I gave birth to her.
But I also have my own thing going, and we also do be
That's
into
right.
it as well. So
we do, because that's just a natural part of the thing. So that's how So Tell Me This came about.
Yeah.
As far as the title, however, as far as why we are even doing this podcast, do you want to speak to that? Like why you even started pulling me in?
Well, okay, yeah, because who came up with the idea in the first place? You came up with the idea to do a podcast.
That was me?
Yes, because we be talking. The way it works is like we be talking and she's be like, we could do a podcast. Like everything we're saying.
Wait.
Or no, you would always say like a camera should follow us. Like a camera could be following us.
And what
or
it
whatever.
is sometimes we watch, there's certain shows we watch, like we were watching Married at First Sight.
We have commentary
Love and Marriage
on.
Husband. We can't even get through the episode.
For pausing.
Because we're pausing, we're commenting.
We always like say, okay, like let's unpack.
Yes, let's unpack it. And I'm like, other people should hear our commentary.
Yes.
We should do a podcast, but I was just saying it.
I drug my feet.
Yeah, she did. Sometimes she gets in her own way.
I'm her biggest hater, honestly.
But I'm proud of you for pushing through because here we are.
So we'll give y'all the background on us in general, just because I honestly, this podcast is making since birth.
Yeah, I've known Shari for 26 years.
Right. From the very beginning.
It's been a hoop. But let me just tell you guys a little bit about Shari's my second daughter. My oldest daughter, we have a good time when all three of us are together. And but she lives in another state. So when she visits, we can have her on.
I'm gonna beg her and force her to be on.
Yeah.
She might not.
But when I was pregnant with Shari, I really had a hard time emotionally. Like I was going through a lot with her dad, and I just remember for those of you who've ever been pregnant before, had a child, like you just feel vulnerable. You feel like people can easily get to you, whether it be physically, emotionally. And I just remember thinking, God, just help me birth this baby. And I felt like the things that I was going through, that she could feel it. And I was like always wanting her to be protected and shielded her from that. But I was carrying her with me everywhere I went.
I'm just swimming around.
She's just swimming around. She used to kick the mess out of my ribs. And so I'll never forget the day I had her. Do you want them to know your birthday?
Sure, yeah, because they already know, yeah.
Yeah, September 16th, 1998.
A Virgo.
I remember when I had her, it was such a sense of relief because it was like, now I no longer felt as vulnerable. She was a baby. She doesn't really know what's going on, but it was like, yes, almost like we made it, girl. We just click. It's just easy. It's just seamless. What percentage of the time would you say we are in sync and we get along and we're not?
This is an interesting question because I remember it was a couple years ago. You were like, oh, it's 70% now. It used to be 95%.
Yes, honey, because she started feeling herself a little bit.
No, see, it wasn't even, I don't even think it was a thing of feeling myself. Mm-hmm. I used to be, as you know, very people pleaser, very heavily people pleaser. And then when you stop being a little bit people pleaser and you get a good boundary, I love a good boundary.
Wait, first of all, let me just say this. Insert. Some of our boundaries are actually not boundaries, they're walls. Yeah, no, she always likes to say some of your boundaries are their walls or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right.
My therapist, we've spoken about my boundaries. She was fine with them. But I have a lot of boundaries, and my no is always a hard no. You do respect it though.
Yeah, you've gotten much better with your boundaries. I think at first you were just throwing them up left and right because you're like, oh, like I know how to throw
I was throwing them
now.
up left and right.
Left and right. And I'm like, whoa. We still got to interact.
Yeah,
we still got to talk.
Mm-mm.
Like, hold on, we're your family.
Right.
Remember me, your
Remember
mom?
your family, right?
Yeah,
no.
and so that was necessary though.
Yeah, but because I remember back then you were like, oh, it used to be like 98 and now it's 70. I feel like it's 80-20. I feel like it's a good 80-20. But honestly,
80-20?
But here's my thing. Even our 20% where we might be quippy, we've changed like our communication. Like it used to be very much, I'm going to be real passive aggressive and I'm going to be real quiet.
This is true.
And then you have to pry.
This is true.
And now I come to you and I'll be like, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it off my chest now because I don't want to be weird for the rest of the day, but da-da-da-da. And it'll be like, and back and forth. And we're a little bit tight for a second. And then we move on.
Yeah, and I think that's important. And I think what that does is it brings us closer because we just understand first of all, we understand the language of a boundary. Like the minute you say it, you don't have to say, this is my boundary.
Right,
I'm like, okay, she's setting a boundary here. And a lot of parents like struggle with it because you don't own your kids, you know. You birth them.
Say it again. Because
you don't own your kids. You birth them, you raise them the best you can. But it's hard because you do feel like they're yours because you have birthed them.
Yeah.
And you've taken care of them and you watch them throughout all their lives. So at this age, I think about like, this is not the age where it's time for discipline or training or coaching. I've done all of that. I'm her mom, but it's okay to have a friendship. And we used to laugh about that. Remember that?
Because for years, she just doesn't want to say that she's my friend. Because y'all already know, like, black moms be like, I'm not one of your little friends, and I'm not boo-boo the fool, and da-da-da. But it gets to a certain point at my age, I'm like, but mom, like, we literally are. Like, we
here's the other thing,
friends.
too.
Like,
black moms are like that, but add on it like a black Haitian mom.
It's an like, extra layer of I'm really not your friend. You took every moment in life to remind me and Sydney, like, and I'm not your friend.
I'm not your friend. Haitian's like, I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend.
Yeah, like, you know, giving us a good chupe, like.
And it wasn't that I couldn't be friendly. It was just that
you always were friendly. I will say, I feel like you had a good balance because you were strict with us, but you were like really silly. So even though you were gonna hit us when I'm not one of your little friends, like you were also gonna play and be like foolish.
Yeah, I think it's important. This is a biggie for me. It's like, you know, I'm a parent, but I still feel like I got that little child in me. And I don't feel like just because you're a parent.
You do. There was a couple years where you were like a menace.
What? I was a menace? What are you talking
Throwing
about?
the ball at me and laughing.
Throwing the ball at you.
No, there was a good few years where I'm like, Mom, you're like a little bit crazy. Like, that's why me and LJ to this day, like, you'll be talking and we'll like side at each other and be like, there's something wrong with her. Like, something is wrong, Mom.
Wait.
Like,
I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about and
I feel like
what
the older
period of time
you get,
was this?
honestly, I feel like the older you get, like you just care less and less every year. You really do. You care less and less every year,
because
Mom.
life can
like,
get so complicated.
Serious.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, you cannot take yourself so seriously all the time. And I think sometimes as adults, you know, we put on that adult hat. Like, I'm an adult. I work. A 9 to 5. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but my job gets so stressful.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is go home and be tight.
But this is why remember those times like you're getting LJ in trouble. I'm laughing and kicking in the corner, and now he's laughing in it. But it's because I don't think you realize it.
What?
As more time passes, like you could be eating him up, but you're saying funny stuff. Like
you're
less serious. You're way less serious.
But in my head, I'm
that's
serious.
Why I'm snickering, and then he's snickering, and you're not finding it funny, but it's funny now.
It's not like I'm actually.
But
very
I like
serious.
it though. But I like it though because it's like I said, like it's. Even though you're very much like, I'm not one of your little friends, you still weren't too, I mean, it was times like belt around the neck and like.
Okay, let's talk about the belt around the neck. Like, I mean, I turned into another person. At bedtime, I once heard somebody say, bedtime is for the parents, not for the kids.
Well, it's because me and my sister used to
play around so much.
Yeah, and we were just talking about this. So like the house that we used to live in, it was our 2 bedrooms in the back, and it was her bedroom, like on the other side of the kitchen.
It was on the other side.
And she could lean.
I say, if I just lean over to the left a little bit, I see the whole hallway, the pathway. They would do like the military
We would army crawl to each other's room
when they're supposed to be in the bed. So I said, you know what?
The character you created,
I'm gonna
say the whole thing.
I'm going to say it. So I was like, I'm tired of talking. How they say talk is cheap. They're not listening to me. So I started getting my belt, putting it around my neck, and at 8 p.m. I turned into Evelina and did.
And you would go like that. You would go like click, click, click.
I would pull the belt out and I would snap it. I would pop it.
Yeah, but we also thought it was kind of funny though.
Say, did y'all even take
we
me
thought
seriously?
It was kind of funny.
Did I ever
What we
swing
did
it?
because no, you would do that thing where you stand. Okay, if my room is here and her room is here, and there's a walkway, you would stand in the middle of the walkway. So if we're in each other's room, and I'm usually going to Sydney's room, so now I got to go back to my room, and I'm trying to walk past you and like run past you real fast.
Yes.
Or else you're gonna go like on the way.
Yes. You were trying to duck it, but I'm like, are they even taking me seriously? But like at that point, I was a single mom.
Yeah.
And,
it was just the three of us.
Even though they were great, like just having children, it's a lot. And I just remember there were times do you remember when y'all would be in the back seat?
We would just be a menace sometimes.
And y'all were going back and forth and arguing, and then I'd be having my hand on the wheel and I'm swinging in the back, and y'all were like this.
To the side, yeah.
Y'all put me through low key.
Me and Sydney, I wish Sydney was here to tell it. Like we just
Yeah, we had a good time though. Fun. As you always say, when it was the three of us, we was rough.
We did. It was fun. Like when I look back on those, it's like yes, of course there were things where it's like you remember and that you don't love, but I had fun through a lot of it.
But I think what's important is we don't have a perfect relationship. You know, like we have a great relationship, but it's not perfect. Even the people in our lives, our family, you know, they're shocked to find out that we might have disagreements, and because they all think
to this day, I'm 26, and people just still think that like whatever she says is gonna go, and I'm just gonna follow after whatever she says, which is interesting because on the flip side, they'd be like, well, you know, Shari, like once she says something, that's it. Right. Her opinion, da da da.
And that's why I said what I say as it relates to when people say that, it's like you take away Shari's voice. You know, you know, they're so focused on, oh, you just want to agree with your mom. No, to say that she's agreeing with me just because I'm her mom is saying that she doesn't have a voice of her own.
Yes.
And so I think that's important. You have certainly grown into yourself. I think all your viewers know you have a voice because, honey, you could do a good rant. Honey, I'd be like, come on back. Come on back to us. But pretty much, you know, that's kind of how we vibed. And so as I would make appearances, she was always filming. So let's go back to that. Let's talk about how you got into digital creating. Well, let me start it, and then I'll let you pick up.
Okay.
When COVID hit, was her senior year in college. She was a dance major, for those of you that don't know it. Yeah. And she
I had a completely different life.
She had a completely different life.
I was just telling Alexis that because I was just like dropping some of my lore, and she was like, Shari, there's no way you did this. And I'm like, yes, I forget sometimes because my life now is like, it's completely different
from where you were in college.
But a lot of it because of dance. I was like in my dance major, my focuses were like doing my choreography and like writing my essay,
spending time in the studio,
yeah,
getting ready for this competition. So there was a big competition called ACDA.
Yes, if you know ACDA
for dancers, and you know she was at Kennesaw State. And she got chosen. It was the first time Kennesaw State
chose a solo to go to
ACDA. And she was a black girl. So that was just double.
Yeah.
And literally,
history girl.
She was like 2 weeks away from ACDA. And the country closed down.
I literally remember the sequence of events. Like, we were excited, first of all, that our piece, because we had a group piece that got chosen to go as well. And then my solo got chosen for the formal concert, which is supposed to be the most important concert. And then we're just little by little, we're hearing like this school is closed and this school is closed, and everybody's like nervous.
With every school that was closed, like I could see you like breaking down. I'm like,
no, literally, because I would FaceTime you. I'm FaceTiming her multiple times a day in college. Okay,
yes,
every single day.
Sidebar. We do this. What's interesting about Shari is like she called me every day, and if all you saw was from that perspective, you think Shari's not having a life. Shari had a whole life. Like, she still went out with her friends. She still did
doing 20 million things every single day.
But I would get the play-by-play when she gets home. And it was fun, you know, hearing about it. But I do believe, as close as we are, it was very important for me for her to have a college life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not one of those moms that's like a helicopter mom. And it's like, oh, my daughter, we're so close. I got to make sure I stay right by her.
Yeah, not at all.
You know, I'm like, no, girl, I had a college experience. You need to have one too. Go and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she did. She just let me know about it.
Yeah.
Now, circle back. What were we just talking about?
But no, I was going to say, I could tell that you could tell that because I would FaceTime you, like, I'm getting more and more tense.
Yes, I could tell.
I'm getting more and more.
And I was trying to talk you off the ledge because I really didn't think the whole country was going to close. So needless to say, she was devastated.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm on the phone because me and my husband are talking like, she needs to come home. What is she going to do?
Well, no, I remember, first of all, I remember getting the news. I remember the news, like I was at the studio when they told us. One of my friends walked in and she said, the school is closing down for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay. And first, me and my best friend at the time, we were like, perfect. Like, we're going to have time to play. Like, it's going to be fun. But you could see, if y'all remember how that time went, it was like impending doom just slowly seeping onto everybody. Mm-hmm. And I didn't tell you, but when I tell you that night, we went out, like, we're having a good time. We're doing karaoke. We're drinking this, that, and the third. But you could feel like a sadness. Like, it literally felt so heavy. And then,
like a closure. Like, this
yes.
We're not going to get
when I think about it, it makes me feel like physically ill.
I can tell. I'm seeing your eyes.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. I'm not going to get emotional about it. Not me earlier. I'm not in the headspace to cry.
You can get emotional, honey. This is a safe space and a brave space.
It's just when I remember it, I'm like, dang, like that really sucked. And you could just tell everybody was like, oh, this is kind of it. And no joke, that was the last day that I saw everybody in one space.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you think about it, you had to grieve a lot. Like, that was your senior year. You had all these hopes, like you're going to be walking with your friends.
I thought I was going to be dancing in a dance company right now.
Right.
Like, life is just very different. And that's why I was so resistant, because what you were, I think, going to say next is y'all were trying to like force me to come home. And I'm like, no.
Like, you need to come home.
I'm going to wait it out in my apartment.
His thing is, she had an apartment, but like, she was a college student. She didn't have like money. And I'm like, after a while, you're going to run out of food. You're not going to want to go to the grocery store. Like, come on. Because clearly my husband didn't care about going to the grocery store.
Please, right?
Oh
my gosh, so yes. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, it's just going to be, everybody thought it was just going to be 2 weeks. We knew it wasn't, but I think I was holding on to like, it's going to be 2 weeks and I'm going to go back to school and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then
and then it wasn't. So she was kind of in a funk when she came home, and I knew it. I just gave her the space to be in that funk.
I was in the biggest funk.
You know, I am an empath, so I do feel people's energy. So I really tried to make sure that I didn't let it affect me, and I still just interacted with her. But basically, I had started a YouTube channel, and I was like, I'm going to do this YouTube channel, even though I was still working. And then Shari was like, you know what? I've been wanting to do a YouTube channel. This is the perfect time to do it.
I was supposed to, Ben had started one.
She was supposed to have started one.
Time.
Yeah, that's another story for another day. So she started, and she blew me out the water. I mean, she was filming, she was editing. Like, I just
needed something to do. Like, I needed something to do.
She did, but I love that for you because it allowed you to, like, you're a creator, like, in its truest sense.
I just needed to make something, do something, work on something. Mind you, I was supposed to have my big senior show, my big senior concert, plus ACDA. So there was multiple things I was working on, and they all just stopped, and there was no dance class. There was nothing. Right. And that's all I knew. So I just needed to make something. But I like went overboard. I was hosting 3, I've said this before, 3 long form videos a week. If you know anything about long form, just 1 a week can be a lot because it can take like multiple days. I'm doing 3 a week.
Well, let's just say this. Shari's middle name, aside from Dion, is Overboard. So she's Shari Dion. That Dion is actually her middle name.
Overboard, obsessor.
And I be trying to talk her off the ledge like, Shari. Nope. You have taken on too much. Because it's a lot. If you've ever edited, and you would have footage for over an hour, and you did 3 a week. But what I loved about her, she was consistent. She was disciplined. So I'm like, have your way.
Nobody was watching it. It was for the love of the game at that point. Not a soul was watching anything.
Y'all can go back and watch it. But she was posting it. And then, so let's fast forward to why you went to TikTok. So you was posting, you were consistent.
Oh, yeah, because I even when college opened back up and I got back to college, I was still posting like multiple. I think I went down to 2. I eventually went down to 1.
And I told you should go on TikTok, and what'd you tell me?
I said, I don't know how to work TikTok. Like, I'm scared of it. I don't know anything about it.
I always like resist. Like, if it's something new, I don't know, you psych yourself out.
I'm always very resistant. And it's interesting because I feel like nobody online would see me that way at all.
I was just about to say that.
No,
I'm like, I think they would be surprised to know, because I think when they see you, they're like, Shari's brave. Shari's just, she's doing all these things.
Not brave.
And here's what's crazy. From the outside looking in, to somebody, it may look like I might be pushing her. But it wasn't that I so much
people
push
would think
her.
that.
It's just that I know her. I know her resistance is not that she can't do it. It's just that she's in her head and the things that she's telling herself.
Yeah.
So needless to say, I was like, you should go TikTok. You should go TikTok. She was like, I don't know TikTok. I said, well, you didn't know Instagram, but you did that.
Or it was YouTube. You were like,
YouTube.
you didn't know YouTube, but you did that.
So
yeah. Instagram is another story, and it took a minute
thing.
for you to get me
That's
there
true.
too. Yeah,
that's later on. Instagram was later on, and then she eventually. Did it take like a year?
It took a minute. Like in the beginning, no, I did have a few little one-off viral videos or whatever. But at the time, it was just me like talking. Like I was like a little bit of a yapper, like saying my little 1, 2. Then? It was like 1 or 2.
How many views?
I don't know. It was like 100,000. 100,000.
Girl, viral until it's like a million. You gotta hit a million.
Well, no, I did have one. That got like that.
Was that before or after you begged the folk to follow you on YouTube? Remember that?
This was after. Oh yeah, my first. That? Yeah, that was the thing. With her telling me she was like, get on TikTok. I didn't know what content to post on TikTok. I got on TikTok to tell people, hey, I make YouTube videos. Subscribe to me on YouTube. That video, it didn't go viral, but at the time, getting 15,000 views on TikTok was a big deal. Now anybody can get that any day.
And
at that time,
people actually went to your YouTube.
Yeah, people went.
She had the little sad music in the background. She was like,
it wasn't sad. I remember it was that Steven Universe theme song.
I don't know what tune. That is.
It was popular.
But it pulled at your heartstrings to me to make you want to help you.
Yeah.
And then people went ahead.
People did. They subscribed. They yeah.
So then
there are some people who are still watching me now who's they subscribed then.
They just they're your ride or die.
Yes.
But then she wasn't doing food at all.
Yeah, I wasn't doing food thing.
And for a good year, she was doing the motivational stuff. I said, look at her trying to sound like a mini me. And then I'm just saying that's how it came across. And but I was in full support. And I'm like, Shari, all of Shari's life. As a matter of fact, her dad calls her Wiglet because she would always wiggle. Especially when she was eating food.
Oh yeah, like I'm always doing movement. Oh my gosh, I was just always doing just a lot of movement all the time.
She always, even
and I'm talking to you and I'm moving and it's making you nauseous.
Yeah, it was a lot. Please. And so what ended up happening when you? So what happened? I remember. Go ahead.
You said post about food. I said nobody cares about any of that.
I said, Shari, people need to see you eat.
Like, I said nobody cares.
Who is that passionate? Like she was passionate about food before it was such a big deal. And so her family had seen her. So now it's really neat because like you guys get to see what we've been seeing.
It's because it's not new. That's what it is. It's not new to y'all. Like it is. Not new. This has been a million years. But yeah, I said nobody wants to see that, and as usual, because she got her degree and she knows everything, that she was right about it.
Not too much on me. Not too much on me. Ain't got nothing to do with no degree.
When I first started making my first feud, nobody was really watching it for real. Like I got a little bit of traction here and there, but it wasn't until I started really speaking directly to camera and eating. Yes. I'll never forget. It's when I went to that doctor's appointment because I had messed up my back, and I went to Panera right after.
You messed up your back?
This was, and don't even act brand new. We're
not going to bring up have you been to the chiropractor, but that's another story.
Either way, and that's a workaround to even talk about it in the first place because you said you wouldn't. I had just went to the doctor about my back. I went to Panera and I pretty much opened the camera being like, my back is messed up, but I'm having Panera right now and da-da-da-da. And then that video kind of like did something.
But you know what really did it? Because it was January of 2022.
I know what it was.
Right. You had been on for a year, but January is when you started food. And by March, tell them what it was then.
Wait.
I thought it was the sandwich video.
January 20, or no, sometime late 2020 is when you told me to get on in the first place. It wasn't until 2 years later when I started doing food. That was 2022, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
So it was like March.
Because it was my first year at the school.
Yeah, it was like March 2022, right?
March 2022 is when your sandwich video went by.
Okay, I was about to say, I was hoping you were thinking that too.
Yeah.
I had come home from work, because at that time I was making content here and there, but I was exhausted and I was like, I want to take a nap so bad. Like, I just want to lay down. I had made up my mind. I pulled up to the house. I was like, I'm not doing a thing. I'm going there. I'm going to shower and lay down. I said, no, let me make this sandwich. I need to check how many views it has now. Because I just swore, like, nobody's going to care about it. I'm going to pull it up right now.
Well, you got to tell them how many it had at that time. And then...
Well, it just was growing and growing, but it hit a million pretty fast.
We were in shock.
And I think to this day, it's my most viewed. It has 19.4 mil.
Wow.
And I wasn't going to film it.
Wow.
And I wasn't even going to film it.
Can we just talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, crazy, isn't it? Shari,
a video that I didn't want to make.
Shari, in her head, she's like, there would be things she would film. She's like, oh, Mom, look at this. I'm like, are you going to post that? No, I don't want to post that. Because I'm like, I had a whole conversation with her about perfectionism. Mm-hmm. I'm like, stop trying to wait till everything is perfect.
Yeah, because after I posted that, I was scared. I was like, I have to maintain it. Like, I have to So I was scared about what I was going to post. And she was like, she had watched something and she was like, perfectionists are the least successful people because you will think yourself, you'll think yourself out of doing something because you have an idea of how it's going to go. She said that, and I said, from here on out, I'm going to post.
Yeah, I was saying perfectionists are not as successful sometimes because they're either doers or they procrastinate. And when they're doers, they're working so hard trying to get everything so perfect that it ends up taking a toll on them.
And that's very me.
But but for you could also have, you're a worker, but you had that procrastination side where you're like, oh, I don't think I want to post it. I think, And sure enough, right after that, there was a video you posted, and that one went viral as well.
Oh yeah, it just kind of kept going from there. But I'm either doing 20 million things or 0. And if I'm doing 0 things, it's because I'm scared of the 20 million things that I have to do.
Yes, and so here's what's interesting, guys. Here's a secret that, like, right now is the first time we're actually saying this to the masses.
No, you probably have to start. There's more probably or something. I don't know.
Well, I was just going to say, like, once you went viral, not too long after, you had your first offer by the ramen noodle
Oh my gosh! Company. Yeah, it was Rapid Ramen Cooker. For $150.
When I tell you,
and I freaked
at this time
out.
You were making, as a stretch coach, you were making $15 for 30 minutes and $25 for an hour.
I'll put it this way: at the end of the month, I would probably have, I don't know, hopefully $1,200. Hopefully by the end of the month.
No, $1,200 was great. Like if you hit 1,000,
as a matter of fact, $1,200 was we've had a good work month.
Right. And meanwhile, Shari's like, I'm moving out. Like I'm saving up money to move out. Girl, where you gonna live with $1,200?
I know, right? I don't know what I thought.
Girl,
I don't know what I thought.
You're gonna have an apartment, but the lights ain't gonna be on.
Yeah. But no, it typically was, if I'm honest, like more so around $700 or $800 by the end of the month.
Yes. When you said $1,200, I'm like, that's on the higher end. So what ended up happening was, you said, Mom, these people reached out to me to do this ramen cooker, rapid ramen cooker.
I remember where I was. I was on that old couch and I was sitting there and I was like, come here. And then I showed you the message.
Oh, I was so excited. And weren't you like, I don't know what to say to them?
Yeah, I just didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do.
Right, she didn't know what to do. And of course, I'm in mama mode. At this point, if it's 2022, you were 23 years old. Wow. And so I said, so here's the secret, okay? A lot of y'all would see me and Shari together all the time. We're traveling, what have you. We had to keep this a secret for a reason, and I'll tell you. But here's the secret. I'm actually Shari's manager
for years now.
For years,
and it's kind of different now because I do have my agency, so they like manage me, but she's still.
But I manage the brand that is Shari, so I look out for her interest in what's going on because her agency is amazing, phenomenal.
They're the best. But before the agency, it was her doing everything.
I had never managed anyone in my life.
And not a single company knew. Every single person was talking to her. Every company's talking to her. They did not know. As a matter of fact,
because I have a different last name than her. But I wanted to tell them I did it because I told Shari, I'm like, if they know they're talking to you, they're going to take advantage of you and nickel and dime you.
They're going to play you, and
they're going to play you.
They will.
But if they think they're talking to your representative, then that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And here's what is so crazy. If I had to do it for myself, I'd be like, what do I do first? But as a mom, as a parent, your children, you're going to make sure they're okay. So I was like,
you were unrecognizable.
Honey, you had a laptop.
You were in rare form. You be saying stuff.
I was like, give me that
don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah. I was like, give me that laptop, honey. I write emails for a living. I know how to do a good email. And that's when we started. Before you knew it, like I'm answering. Mind you, I still have a 9-to-5. Still, try to run my own business. Yeah. And I'm responding. I'm looking at her emails whenever I can squeeze it in. Also, she's like, Mom, you need to respond.
We would be collaborating on it. That's the crazy part, that none of the... And this got to a point where we were working with big, big brands, and it was still just her and me. And what none of them know to this day, sometimes we'd be collaborating on the email. Sometimes it'd be me emailing. I'm on the phone with you. I'm like, okay, Mom, look, they've come back. Like, we don't have much time. Like,
because I'm at work, so she's just calling me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's calling me. It must be something. And so she would construct it, and then I would tweak it and clean it up and make sure it was all right. But literally, guys, I've never... Well, actually, my husband always told me I'm good at negotiating. Because when we would go out of the country and, they're trying to sell you stuff, he goes for the first price. I'm like, hold up, you got to talk him down.
That's they say 30, she say 15, they agree on 20. Yeah.
But either way, I'm going to win, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, I got to negotiate for her. And so I was negotiating contracts, guys. And I'll never forget when she got her commercial deal, I said, we got to get a lawyer.
Yes.
Matter of fact, did we get the lawyer before the commercial deal?
I think it was a little bit before, and we were like, "Oh, thank God for Bobby," because
Bobby was great. Blah, blah. She helped us with the contract. But here's what's deep, and for those of you who are content creators, and you might want to know this stuff, like this is like uncharted territory. Even though social media has been around for a while,
there's no guidebook.
There's no guidebook. Like there was so much research. I'm like, Shari, how much do people charge? Like I remember when she had 100,000 followers.
Learning curve was
how much
crazy.
Should we charge for that?
Oh.
She had 150,000, 200,000. How much should we charge for that? Just trying to figure out. And then so when we got with the lawyer was depending on us because it was new territory for her as well. So somewhere in between the lawyer and us, we were making it work. We were making it work. We did our counter offer.
Yes.
And I want to say that was your biggest deal to date.
It was.
Her biggest deal to date.
When I look back, it's kind of funny because there be times where I'm signing off on an email as her, speaking to a huge company. I'm like, okay, thank you, Rachel, blah, blah, blah. Like, they have no idea.
Listen, I'm going to Canva, creating rate cards.
On the spot, like just making,
and then so we had the rate card right there when people would ask for it, boom.
Yeah, honestly, I would say if you're starting out doing social media, even if you have to make up a fake persona, do it because they're not going to, like, I don't think that's crazy to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy to do.
If they know they're talking to you, they're going to.
It's just different. I feel like, I don't care how big you get, everybody needs a representative.
Also,
everybody needs somebody speaking on your behalf.
When you're first starting out, they know that you don't know. They know that you're new, so they will say anything. You could literally make up a name and say, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm her representative." Blah blah blah. They don't know if you have a team. They don't know what's going on, and it just sounds like something.
You know what I try not to think about?
What?
How much money we could have possibly left on the table?
Yeah, I thought about that before. Yeah, because I'd be scared sometimes. Like you'd be like, I'm gonna say this amount. I would say, no, they're not gonna like talk to us.
Honestly, some of those times they had us at our toenails because, don't get me wrong, I knew your value, I knew you were great, but then you didn't want to
I wasn't trying to do too much.
And then they say, never mind. Yeah. Because of your viewers. But honey, once you hit that million.
We just felt like we was just able to make moves. But you know what it was? I was just scared because I'm like, there are so many creators. Like, there are so many. I'm like, they can easily. I have this whole thing, and she hates it. But I'm always like, I'm not in their eyes. I will never for 1 second let myself believe that they just think I'm so special because there are so many creators around. So I'm like, they can always like find. They'll say nice things. They'll try to make you feel good.
Here's the thing,
I don't want to be tricked by them.
Here's the thing.
I don't want to be.
There are so many creators around, but there's only one Shari.
But I know you know. Okay, this is how.
No.
Okay.
This is what somebody told me one time. This is
because I know. I'm
what
like,
you just say?
Go ahead, because I'm gonna say my little thing, but you go ahead and say your little thing.
I'm gonna say my little thing because you be in your head. But now you made me almost forget what I was saying. What did I start off saying?
I was saying I feel like there's so many creators, so I just can't trust a single thing they say. Like they're just blowing smoke up my butt to make me feel good.
Right, but everybody, I'll never forget.
I don't trust them.
This is so random, but you know how like there's some people that are into big butts. Like it's like somebody got a big butt and they're so into it to the point where people get BBLs. This whole thing. I'm like, what is the big deal about a big butt? It's just a big butt.
Oh, you're saying your whole like everybody has a fan club.
Yeah, yes. And then the person said to me, everybody has a fan club. Like every type has a fan club, right? So I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense because for some people it's not big butts, for some people it's big boobs. Some people it's both. Yeah. So for you, I feel like you have your own, and you don't ever think of, the people who love and adore you as fan club. You always say my supporters, and I appreciate that about you. You always stay humble. But honestly, Shari, thinking like that sometimes can keep you from advancing. Like if you were left to your own devices, like you would still be at that 150 ramen cooker. Okay,
I know, I get it, and I'll say my little piece. The way I used to think of it, and still kind of now, not as much because there are some companies that I have established really genuine relationships with, and I really like them a lot. But how people will say like men will say anything to anyone. Like they will say the same 20 things to like 50 different women, and it's like They're trying to make them feel a certain way. That's how I would look at it. Because I'm like, people do stuff like that when they're trying to make you feel a certain way to get something that they want.
But the difference
so I'm like, these companies be doing
these companies were offering you money though.
It's a lot of me saying something crazy and then you being the sounding board and then.
And at the end of the day, like, you know, I don't want to therapize you, but like, where does that come from? Like, feeling like doomsday gotta come. Like, you can't really sit and celebrate the moment. I'm like, girl, celebrate the moment.
I am so doomsday gotta come.
Your celebration is literally a half a second.
I am so doomsday gotta come. Like, no other.
Do you think, you know what I think it is? If you bring on the doomsday, like, you have control over it.
If you stay ready, you gotta get ready.
So when the ball drops.
You stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
But Shari,
I'm not gonna lie.
That's not how I look at it.
Because I'm like, I feel like if I'm getting too excited, when that ball drops, it's really dropping. Then I'm sliding down the wall and crying and throwing up. If you...
Shari, this is a moment right here.
Okay.
Life is going to drop enough balls. Okay? Life will serve you up plenty L's. You don't look for them and you don't create them.
I'll be looking for them.
You be looking for them.
And I'll be creating.
As a matter of fact, you almost counter as if to be like, I see you 1 and raise you 5.
Right? I'll be like, oh, if it's bad, make it worse.
I'm like, no, bring that thing back. You're doing fine.
I'm working on that.
Because at the end of the day, you're experiencing all this success, which is truly the result of all the work that you have done. Why not sit in it and enjoy it? And I have to take some responsibility for that. In that, like, I've always raised my kids. I just wanted them to have a humble spirit. Like, I don't want them to like be braggadocious and look what I have and like.
You didn't want us to be entitled growing up. You really didn't want that.
Let's play this game real quick.
Period. Let's go. I know what you gotta do.
What I used to say to you.
Do you need to start running all your phrases back.
Tell me this.
You're right. So tell me this.
What did I used to say to you when it has anything to do with wanting something?
Let's say it at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Nobody owes you anything. Exactly. Yes.
Nobody owes you anything.
Oh, you should do your phrases, then I'll answer them.
I do that. Well, I could do that. There's a few of them. I'm trying to remember. Oh, this is when your stuff is raggedy.
Oh, wait. There's a couple of them.
Your stuff is raggedy. Like when you've been moving in a wrong way. Time, whether it be time management. You telling me stuff at the last minute.
Okay, let's do it.
You don't have your stuff together.
3.
It's something that you and your sister always say that I would say.
Oh, but there's low key more than one. But let's just say.
Okay, so do you need more? Do you need more information?
Okay, so maybe just go.
It was something that just had to do with like, basically you're at rock bottom. Like,
okay, let's say it.
You ready?
1, 2, 3.
You ain't got a pot to piss in or window throw out.
Okay, no, see, that's what I was asking.
You thought it was a day late dollar short,
or pot to piss in, or a window to throw it out of.
You right.
See,
you right about that.
Because I was gonna say,
I was like, honestly, I was like the Black Mary Poppins.
You were.
Even in my classroom.
Do another one.
I always had so many sayings. You want another one? Gosh.
I just want to get it right.
You want to get, well, you got right now, you won 1 and 1.
Well, low key, but.
She said 1 and 1.
That's our producer, Deani, behind the camera.
Yeah, now we keep it
just kicking the whole time,
what
just
else
laughing.
I used to say? Y'all always remember it because it always came so natural to me.
Day late, dollar short, pot to piss in, window to throw it out of.
What would I say about when it came to, if you had Sydney used to get her feelings hurt. If you had a friend at school and there was a situation where I didn't trust the friend or something. Do you remember that?
Or are you talking about you be like, don't call everybody your best friend?
Don't call
you
everybody
are always saying that. You like, you cannot, that is not your best friend.
They're no best friend.
And it rubbed off on me because when LJ was growing up, he would meet somebody, he would say, that's my best friend. I would say, that's not your best friend.
And let me throw this out here. You can have a best friend. But I think with my kids, it was like the biggest message, and that was the message my mom gave me is, don't be so quick to label somebody as your best friend. That thing has to be earned. It has to be tried and tested over time.
Yeah, because I would say LJ was different. LJ would meet somebody one day.
Child.
Because we had best friends growing up that you recognized as our best friends. You 1,000%. So let's get that clear.
Right. But what do you always say about me when it comes to friends? Like y'all friends.
You always know. She always knew, but you always know everything.
I don't know everything. That's a lot of pressure. But
Mom,
about the
you just have like a sixth sense. Like you remember Diane used to call it like Haitian persuasion. Like you just have You just know what's going on before it's happening. If I'm feeling wrong, like I could literally get a call from you, like, and you'll just be looking at my face like, okay, I just had to lay my eyes on you. Like, you just be knowing stuff. Like,
or like my mom, like, you're not going out tonight, but Mom, you let me go out before.
You just I just had a feeling, like I
don't feel right.
Something isn't right.
Something isn't right.
No, but did
you've grown up to realize what?
You got to trust those feelings. Yeah. Because did you hear about this? This happened. I forgot when this story was told, but this boy, he was like supposed to go to school one day because there was going to be a field trip.
I love a good story.
I know, right? There was going to be a field trip or something. Wait, hold on. Oh, I know it. This boy was going to go to school one day. His mom was like, you're not going to school tomorrow. She did not give him a reason. She didn't even know why. She just was like, I don't know what it is, but I don't want you going to school tomorrow.
Black folks will say it's the Holy Spirit in a minute.
I know. Black folks love to call some Holy Spirit, child. But anyway, he was like, well, there's like a field trip tomorrow. Like, I really want to go. And she was like, there's a field trip. And he was like, yes, like the minute we go to school, we're getting right on the bus. I'm not even going to be at school. She said, if you're going to school to get right on the bus, you can go. But if otherwise, you're not going. The next day comes, he goes to school, he goes on the field trip. A shooter came in his specific classroom. And his desk, where he used to sit, was right by the door. Yes, and shot up that classroom. He would have been gone.
Did you hear this story?
To this day, the kid who it was, he told the story on TikTok. Like himself, he came on and told it. And he went and told his mom. To this day, she's like, I can't tell you what. He was like, how did you know? She's like, I just knew you weren't going to school that day. Spirit. So it's like moms just be like, we have that sixth sense. Yes, but you have it on another level because you just be knowing stuff. Like, I'm telling you, you're not getting away with nothing with her.
I mean, it wasn't like I didn't want you to have your freedom. And this is kind of like us too, like in our relationship. Yeah. One thing I do appreciate, you told me this in your adulthood. You were like, Mom, you were always reasonable.
I do think you were reasonable. Because and I made like a video about this on my spam. I don't know if you saw it because, we don't talk about that. But
we don't talk about her spam page.
That's something for another time. She knows I follow it.
I like every single one.
Talk about it.
I'm on punishment, y'all.
It's not punishment. We've had this conversation. Okay. Anyway, I had made a video basically saying, I don't know how people got away with stuff because my mom always knew everything. Like, I could be thinking of doing something wrong and she would just know me by she would know that I'm thinking of it. I could have a dream and the next day she'd be like, what did you dream about? She would know every single thing.
You're exaggerating.
But I never felt, I also didn't have like the propensity to want to be shady in the first place. I wanted to watch TV and read books.
Now I will get my homework done early. I will say this about both of y'all. Y'all weren't perfect kids, but some of the woes that other people had, I did not have that.
Because me and Cindy did not want to do much.
Yes, it was other stuff.
Our producer told us to wrap it up. I didn't want to. It's fine.
Well, here's the thing. I think we did pretty well at like letting them know who we are.
We did. Do you think so?
Phenomenal.
Really? Phenomenal. Okay. Well,
a phenom.
This is So Tell Me This podcast. When is this? What day is this dropping again? Well, it's going to drop on the same day every week. We'll let them know.
It's going to probably. I thought you said Friday. Didn't your people say they like to see your stuff on Fridays?
Yeah, but that's when my YouTube videos drop. Maybe we'll do these on Sundays. Maybe it'll be podcast Sundays. People clean. Podcast people Sundays. Listen to podcasts. So tell me this Sunday.
So tell me this
that
Sunday.
That eats. Yes. Okay. So we'll see you guys on Sunday and the Sunday after that and the Sunday after that. This is So Tell Me This podcast.
Yeah. So this is us. We're so excited.
Right. We're fuzzy.
What they want to hear.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, because we want to eventually do like a Q&A segment. So come up with questions that you want us to answer or just topics that you would like us to talk about on the podcast.
What's interesting is we talk like this all the time. And
so
to be able to share with you guys, know, buckle yourselves in and get ready for the shenanigans.
Buckle yourself in. Ready for a shenanigans.
We were well behaved on this one.
Yes. But we'll see y'all on next Sunday.
Bye.